back down the street instead of bunching up to the side of the street. Then we can see the future people. Australia Day is not okay! We won't celebrate Invasion Day! Australia Day is not okay! We won't celebrate Invasion Day! Australia Day is not okay! We won't celebrate Invasion Day!
Ya Palina, everybody.
Thank you, Dwayne.
Before we begin, I'd like to introduce Seth Gardner to come up here to give us an official welcome in our traditional language, Palawakani. Thank you, Seth.
Invasion Day, Pine Trigger, war! Ya Paluna, Miladina Pakanatu, Ronta Takamuna Lumi, Tunapri Pakana Mangina Ningi, Nara Pudianari, Waipara Raichi Lunkana, Miladina Pakana, Right Tunapri Mina Nina, Invasion Day, war!
Elders, uncles, aunties, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as President of the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre, I very warmly welcome you all here today. And on behalf of the Tasmanian Aboriginal Centre and our community, we thank you, one and all, for supporting us to change the date on this day being Invasion Day. Folks, this event gets bigger and bigger, or this protest gets bigger and bigger every single year. This is the people's movement. The people are speaking. We gather here today because we recognise that January 26th is not the appropriate day for the celebrations of Australia Day, and that this day will continue to be a day of invasion until the date is changed. The invasion of Australia has contributed immensely to the poor social, physical and emotional well-being of many Aboriginal people within this country. Prior to this invasion, we were free and healthy peoples with our own laws, customs, governance and our nations. And for the past 228 years, we have been a human race that has been exploited, robbed, violated, discriminated against and been used as objects for science and research. And shame I say. But folks, we too are an amazing people, truly an amazing people. Because each time we get knocked down, we get up. And the people movement is showing it today. Even after we've had our services ripped from us, as in the Aboriginal Legal Service. Our land's disrespected by the state government. A state government that says it wants to strengthen relationships and does nothing at all to solidify the relationship. Aboriginal artwork in our caves being vandalised. And folks, though it takes a lot of energy, it generates a lot of emotion.
And I think this is a really important day, and I wanted to say to everyone, let's be positive about this day, because this day is generating change. You know, it's making people think whether the date's changed or whether the date stays the same. It's important for us to have a day where we can do this and contemplate our future. You know, because there's a lot more than just human beings involved in our beautiful country. There's a lot of animals that have suffered. There's a lot of the whole spectrum of creation has suffered since colonisation. On this country, and there's a lot of work to do to clean the plastic in the oceans, to look after the Tassie devils, to, you know, the list goes on. I need to go on. So on this day, I just wanted to say, you mob are all really deadly for coming out, and I'd like to thank Uncle for having me along. And let's just encourage our children, whether the date changes or not, but every year to remind everybody of what this day means to all different parts of Australians, and let's try and walk together as one people from all different cultures to protect and preserve our beautiful earth. And that's it.
Public discussion that is legitimate, that is honest, that is genuine. But firstly, as Xavier said, we need to start talking with an eye to an outcome about the hurt, the controversy, and the sadness and the anger around staging Australia Day on this specific date. Now, I take great pride in our country and have even greater pride in our state, yet I concur that the choice of celebration date has been short-sighted and dismissive of truth and history. I see your views cannot be merely swept aside. They cannot be treated with the contempt and ignorance, yes, the arrogance that has greeted them, particularly in recent days. Powerful people in this state and in this country have only yesterday and the day before dismissed out of hand a genuine, justifiable need for real discussion around moving this occasion away from 26 January. I apologise on behalf of those who should but won't. That arrogance and disdain, that unwillingness to even contemplate having a discussion astounds me. We should never be afraid of listening, responding, and moving in new directions. We all need to start listening. We want everyone to join in an open, unbiased discussion that should spread throughout our whole community. Let's have that discussion, let's have that debate. Let's have an openness to a possibility of change. Let's stop the mere dismissiveness. I'm eager and ready to be in that discussion, and I think it's important we have it. And while we have that discussion, let's take the extra step and start a concurrent and simultaneously honest and transparent discussion around the step that several other Australian states have already taken towards treaties with Indigenous communities. Negotiations on treaties are already underway in Victoria and in South Australia. And in the Northern Territory, thank you, Michael, in the Northern Territory, they have indicated their willingness to open those negotiations also. Those are landmark negotiations and landmark discussions involving the entire community. We need to start those discussions here in Tasmania as well. There is no need to fear discussions. No need to fear discussions and conversation. For what is in our hands is the power to meet, to talk and achieve agreement on a shared future. We are the only country in the Commonwealth which does not have a treaty with Indigenous people. So perhaps that important discussion we need to have would start with looking closely at the Canadian experience, at the New Zealand experience, and I've been looking at these things. These are countries that have led the way, that have shown us what can be achieved, and that have shown us how governments, local, state and federal, can join with the community if only they begin the conversation. I want this discussion to begin. I reflect on Robinson's promise. I reflect on the work ignited by myself and the Tasmanian Labor Party, which delivered constitutional recognition, work I want to build upon, and I hope each and every one of you has that desire as well. I wear a shell necklace today, which I wore on the first day of my election to Parliament when I delivered my inaugural speech. I wear it as a mark of respect and acknowledgement of my ongoing commitment to moving forward these issues and our relationship. I want us to open our hearts to consider what would it feel like if it was done to me, to open a door through which all others can follow. Let's come together. Let's come together and talk it over. And let's enter that discussion with the genuine belief that we can finally reach an outcome. Thank you.
We have some members of the Greens here, thank you. Bob, Cassie and Nick. Andrea's here from up in Launceston, thank you Andrea. I don't like to put people on the spot, but I do invite a member of the Greens to come forward if you have something you'd like to say.
Don't fight over who's going to do it.
Come on, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Bob Brown.
Thanks for this opportunity. I respect the wreath. I respect that this is Aboriginal country. Always was, always will be. I am 100% behind changing the date away from Invasion Day, away from the day when the slaughter, the destruction of culture, the killing, the raping, the maiming came across peoples who had lived on this continent for tens of thousands of years, which leaves us all the lesser as a nation until we address it. I believe we should have a sorry house in this nation where we can come to grips with what happened. I'm talking about we white people, and make some connection in our own hearts with our own history. We're beyond black armband history. We need to address real history of this great country of ours, because we'll be all the greater if we do that. There's plenty of days to go to. I've just tweeted, what about Wattle Day? It's the first day of spring, can be celebrated by everybody. It's already officially recognised. There's plenty of days we can go to, but let's get rid of Australia Day being on Invasion Day. This is Invasion Day. Let's create a new Australian Day, recognising the first people, the First Nation, and all the people of Australia, so we can celebrate together. I congratulate the Aboriginal Centre and everybody for being here in the biggest crowd I've ever seen on this issue here in Tasmania.
Mr. Bob Brown. Thank you, Bob, for your passion and your support. Can I now ask one of our young Aboriginal leaders, Miss Nala Mansell, to come forward, please. Nala.
Probably not tall enough. How's that? Yapulingina, mina nala, mina otra pakana paloa luna rala. Mina wingani rala of Ningi Paiwuta Mana, who mangina for Milatina, Paloa Kani, Luutina, and Takarelia. Ngamala Pain Trika, Raichi, Taipani Tu, Luchuita. Hello and welcome everyone. My name's Nala and I'm an ultra proud Tasmanian Aboriginal woman. I'm proud of my ancestors who fought to defend their lands, their culture, their language and their children when the white man invaded their country. I'm proud of my elders and my community who have fought for over 200 years against dispossession, racism, oppression and assimilation, and who have fought for our identity today. Mina wingani so rala lakapawa pakana paloa mapali and raichi karati mana, who tunapri the difference between Pain Trika and Ngāri. Who tunapri mimara, today waranta putia kanaplila, today waranta tunapri and tangana for our old fellas. And who tunapri mimara nika milatina kanaplila putia Ngāri. I'm also so proud to see so many people here today, not just Aboriginal people, but so many of our non-Aboriginal friends
who know the difference between right and wrong. To the hundreds and hundreds of non-Aboriginal people that have come out today, who know that today is not a day of celebration, but a day of acknowledgement and mourning for our old fellas, and who know that the date of this nation's celebration needs to be changed to a different date. You are the true leaders of this country, and I pay my respects to everyone that's turned up here today. From the beginning of time, right up until January 25th, 1788, Aboriginal people right across the country enjoyed a rich, happy and healthy life. They lived in harmony with the land. They had their own laws, customs and traditions and were in full control of their own destinies. On the 26th of January 1788, the British invasion of Aboriginal lands began. And from that time on, the lives of Aboriginal people were destroyed and completely changed forever. The celebrations of the atrocities committed against my people, which began on January 26, are hurtful, shameful, degrading, and they're downright bloody racist. Those who feel an obligation to our ancestors are not able to join in on the celebrations of January 26. And those of us who feel a sense of shame that a nation would callously gloat about the victory of one race over another while turning a blind eye to the misery that it has caused Aboriginal people of today, they can't join in the January 2026 celebrations either. Yet the politicians claim that Australia Day is a day that unites us all. What a load of crap. Today is a great day for us to reflect on who we are and what we value as a nation. It's a time to ask ourselves why our national date of celebration is still held on the January 26th as opposed to any other of the 364 days in the year. A couple of years ago, the community on Flinders Island discussed how celebrating on January 26 was making everyone feel. They agreed that celebrating on that date made a lot of people feel left out and saw that it was causing a divide within the community. Reflecting those decisions, the Flinders Island Council quietly moved the celebrations to the following weekend. Suddenly, everyone was able to join in and celebrate. The Furneaux Islands Festival is now a glowing success. The move has unified the Flinders Island community and now everyone can join in the fun. As Xavier mentioned, this year the Fremantle Council, home of the mighty Dockers, also shifted its citizenship celebrations to the 28th of January instead of the 26th. The council copped threats from the Turnbull government, but to its credit, the council stood its ground. And as I look out and see so many people here today and so many people standing up for what's right, I wondered just how many other groups of people will be able to show more leadership than what the politicians have done and make the same changes by this time next year. There are sound reasons for changing the date. The only significance of the 26th of January is that it marks the coming of white people to our country in 1788, and that makes the celebration race-based. Most people who are at the beach today or are having a barbecue in the backyard with their mates aren't celebrating the hurt and destruction that was forced upon Aboriginal people on this date in 1788. They're celebrating all the good things that being Australian means to them, none of which should relate to the atrocities committed against my people. It's not that they should be condemned. It's the weak and gutless leaders in the parliaments, as well as the local councils, who sit on the date and force the rest of us to go along with it. Change the date!
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to see such a great crowd attending this event. I've got an interesting perspective because I became an Australian citizen 5 years ago, and on Australia Day and every years since then, I have been an Australia Day ambassador at the invitation of whoever happens to be residing in this place behind me. And I do enjoy the event. I enjoy getting together with the community. The best part is inducting the new citizens. Today, I did it in Glenorchy, and we inducted 54 beautiful new citizens from all over the world, from every continent. And it's quite a moving thing. But I'd feel much better about the situation if it was not happening on this day.
They have questions in England that they have to address as well, because they should be endorsing the changes that have to happen in this country. It's not just that these fellas here are making their decisions, they're still tied to the old gentry. And we have to make that gentry sit up and listen and realise that they're not as big as they think they are. And if we take them out bush, they'll be lost. There are people who have made things move that are now gone. And I remember Morgan Mansell, who was first of the Tasmanian Aboriginal men to go on to the National Aboriginal Consultative Committee, which was later changed to the National Aboriginal Congress. He's gone, and we've had some others come past beyond him. We've had other leaders that have stepped up to the plate, and we've achieved big campaigns. In 1978, we had an Aboriginal land rights group. They finished up walking out on them because they buddied up the numbers against that group. And they said, well, we can't discuss land rights if you're going to load it so that we don't have a voice. And I'm proud of those people for telling the government, if you're going to load the numbers and tell us that you're having a serious discussion and then talk us down with academics and politicians, then we're not going to sit at the table. And that's been our strength. We won't be used by politicians at all. During the 1980s also, Michael had set up the APG, the Aboriginal Provisional Government. It was the one that opened up the doors in the minds of other Aboriginal people right around this country. Proud to see our young people coming up and stepping up into the plate and leading these things. And the changes in our community, speaking our own language. Palawakani. We've got young people, I speak in Palawakani. We've got wonderful health services. One of the best health services in Australia, I think, is the one we've got here in Hobart. That's where I always go. I come all the way from Cape Barren Island to see my doctor down here because I don't trust the quacks up there. Okay, but I'm giving it time, so I better get off here. I want to pay tribute. I want to pay some tribute. I want to pay tribute to the young people who are leading this struggle now. I want to pay tribute to Michael Mansell and Heather Sculthorpe, who have held onto that politic and keep steering us in that direction. Not turning, not waving aside, not turning us, leading us. And I want to remember Ros Langford, who worked so hard with Michael and Heather to break down those barriers. And most of all, to finish off, I want to make a tribute to all of those non-Aboriginal people who are coming along and support us year in, year out. Stand up against their own people to stand up for us. Change the date! Change the date! Change the date!
Kanapila Invasion Day. Waranta Putia Kanapila Lunkana Pakana Ningani. We'll be dancing on the graves if we celebrate Invasion Day. We will not celebrate the killing of our old people. We will not celebrate the killings of our old people. protection for the ancestors. Our own people need more respecting by not celebrating to keep alive the memories. This song is for those who died, disease and killing, honored lies, dispossession and dancing on graves. We are crying, gotta change the day.